Hey, buddies, it's your girl, Christine, and welcome to my spoiler review of Fantastic Four First Steps. Now, if you didn't see my non spoiler review, definitely check that out so you can get my overall thought of the movie itself. There are some spoiler things that I definitely want to dive into in regards to what worked, what didn't work in this film. Starting off with the acting. I feel like they were solid, right? I feel like Johnny Storm was solid as an actor. Ebon was great as Thing, and I really liked his dynamic in walking through the city and having those moments he did with Natasha, which I was really excited to see her. And I enjoyed him having like not really a love scene, but just like the hints, the little fumes of a love potential. And I enjoyed that, right? I also liked how Johnny interacted with the robot and how he was kind of petting it and stuff. They did mention that he likes girls and he kept calling the alien a sexy alien. So that shows you that he does have some pheromones, right? Which is another thing. He does say pheromones in the movie. So yes, he is wanting things, but you didn't get enough from these characters to really know them through and truly. Same with Reed Richards, which I do feel fell very flat with him. There are decisions that he makes that aren't really smart. Like when they all come back and he tells them straight up, he wants our baby, but we said no, so he's going to destroy the earth. I felt like you could have done that better as a character. I felt like it didn't make sense. I feel like as someone who's extremely, extremely smart in the MCU or in Marvel comics, period, because that's something I do know, that he's very smart, right? I do feel like I felt like he didn't have to lie, but we could have workshopped it a little bit better. I 100% with Sue Storm about, hey, I ain't giving up my baby. You can't take my baby. And I do like that when she hears basically the earth telling her to give up her baby, right? Because they were having maternity problems at the beginning. They tried for 2 years, couldn't have a baby. All of a sudden they have a baby. 100% as someone with PCOS, I relate to that. Like when you get your baby, this is your miracle child. You ain't taking my child. I don't care what you say. He could take the earth. We're all gonna die together. You ain't taking my child, right? I get that. 100% back it. Her coming down to have the conversation with them, walking through that angry crowd, didn't make sense to me. Especially after watching Squid Game season 3, and then the situation, give the baby up, give the baby up, give the baby up. I felt like that was not I felt like that scene could have been handled better. I did like the speech. I did like what she said, but I do feel like the aspect of how she just walked into the middle of this crowd, and yes, she does have power, so it's arguable. But I was like, for someone who's trying to protect your baby, you shouldn't have went to space with the baby. Yeah, you shouldn't have went to space with the baby. Being yes, you do have superpowers, but you are not immortal, okay? And neither is your baby. That is quite a risk. To then walk through a crowded, angry crowd that is protesting outside your home with the baby. So that was definitely a no. Everything else with her, even giving her power to die, to move this man so that way they can get that baby back and get rid of this man that wants their baby. I get it. 100%. When she tells her brother, kill her, she's trying to take your nephew, kill her. Yes. Did it seem out of character a little bit from what we've seen her be? Because she seemed even keel. But I think it even painted more of a picture of being a mama bear. And like, no, you is not taking my child, right? So I completely get that. And I completely am with that. Just not the going to space pregnant and walking through the crowd with the baby. Also, when I did like the scene of her giving birth, because she's trying to she's got contractions while trying to protect the ship, and trying to survive during that time while everything's going on. So I liked that. But again, you shouldn't take the baby into space. Timing and pacing in this movie, all over the place, absolutely over the place. You spend a lot of time not really truly getting to know these characters, although a lot of time was spent looking at them. I do feel like the only time that was said was that it took them a month to go to the other galaxy to deal and talk with Galactus and get back, right? Then oh, it's confirmed that Galactus has just passed Jupiter. World gets together and it's like, hey, we got to build these teleportation devices so we could transport Earth. And they finish when he passes Mars, or right around him passing Mars. And I feel like that doesn't make any sense at all. How does it, like, how long would it take to build something like that? And I asked my husband, if the world were to get together, could they actually build something like that? And he said no, because materials, formatting materials into what they need to be so that way you can build these things would be something that would be impossible. So yeah, it didn't make any sense. It did not make any sense. It was very slow, then all of a sudden fast, but also fast and slow at the same time. We're fast at building these teleportation devices all over the world, all over the world. And then also slow with how long it's taking this man to pass Jupiter, pass Mars, and then get to us. It doesn't match up, right? It doesn't match up. So that's where pacing was a thing. I enjoyed her death scene. I was like, oh, they're actually doing something here, because throughout this whole entire movie, I felt like they weren't giving us enough. They didn't stir up emotions of extreme happiness or extreme joy or extreme anything. It was, all basically surface level emotions that was being navigated for me with watching this movie. And the CG was really, really bad for the baby. That end scene, very, very bad. But I did enjoy that they did kill her, at least for a moment. And we sat in that for a moment. So I felt like that was a good choice. I was like, really like, oh crap, are they going to end this movie and not have her come back? And no, but they did have me think that and actually convinced that they very possibly might do that. So that was good. That was a good moment. What's not good is the motivations. Why does Galactus want the baby? I know he wants to pass his hunger along, but you haven't told me anything about this baby to know I don't know. You haven't really perfectly painted a picture or scale into what your issues are for me to know whether this baby can take it. And you haven't painted a big enough picture of enough about the baby or its powers for me to know if the baby could take it, So we didn't get enough of Galactus about we know nothing about Galactus. We just know he eats. He hungry. Okay. Just give him a hungry man, call it a day. He that's all we know about him. We did get something of Silver Surfer, which I enjoyed her character. I think her story arc is very simple, but executed in a way that it's like, I get you. I understand you. Case closed. And even her turnaround at the end made sense with how she was affected when Johnny Storm guilted her by telling her all about the people that died from what she's been doing. The other side, though, why? I know why she's the Silver Surfer. She wants to be the Herald because that is how she saves her world. But why did she choose Earth? Why was Earth a choice? The question is asked, but it is not answered in this movie. What about Earth? Why was Earth chosen? Why does Galactus eat planets? Not answered. Why is the baby the choice? Like, yeah, why do you want the baby? You already have a Herald. Why do you want the baby? That's not truly answered. The cutscenes or the end credit scenes, really cool to see Doom. So I'm really excited. Confused on how we're gonna have Robert Downey Jr. play this character, but we'll see. The other cutscene, it was cute. The cartoon animation of the show that they had playing around in the movie. But all in all, I do feel like, again, I give this movie a 7. I feel like I definitely wanted more from this movie than it provided. I will definitely watch it again. I feel like it's lighthearted enough where you can watch it again, but execution 100% could have been better. There was no emotional weight, really. There was no extreme happiness. I feel like if there's a meter on the movie, it would just be in the middle. As far as this movie, for an MCU film, it's in the middle for me as well. It's not the worst movie. It's not a bad movie, but it's definitely not the best. That's yeah, far from the best and not close to the best at all. Does a movie need to be the best? No, it doesn't. It doesn't. But alas, that's my spoilerific review of Fantastic Four, First Steps. Let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. What were the parts that you loved the most? What were the parts that you hated the most? What are things that they could have done better? Oh, one really quick thing. I laughed at the car seat scene. I thought it was funny. I know a lot of people are probably going to be very upset about it, but I laughed. I thought it was funny. It was quirky and it was corny, but I enjoyed it, you know? And I do like the dynamic of her being the woman and these men being like brothers, except for her husband. But like how she's got this protective bubble around her as Sue Storm. So I love that as well. But anyways, let me know your thoughts down below in the comment section. Links down below to become to subscribe to the channel. I was going to say member, but that's my other channel. Mixing everything together. The multiverse is merging. But yes, let me know your thoughts down below. I love you guys as always. And until next time, buddies. Toodles.